What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I'm your host, the Bearded One. You know the catchphrase. I appreciate it every time you guys subscribe, comment, and like the channel, support the content. No, I appreciate it. I am fired up. I'm fired up for DC. I'm so fired up. I got off my butt, turned on the phone, and I'm making a dadgum video. James Gunn and Peter Saflan. You already know the news. You've already read it before you came here. They are the new co-chairman of the now labeled DC Studios. DC Films is gone. No more Jeff Johns and his drama. I am actually a fan of Jeff Johns. Not here to talk about Jeff Johns. Just kind of would have liked to have seen more from Jeff Johns. Greg Berlanti's out of there. Thank God. I didn't like the Arrowverse. And when I heard Greg Berlanti, okay, I'll give Greg Berlanti this. He did put out some animated bangers. He really did. I like DC animated properties. And Greg Berlanti oversaw a lot of that. He maybe not directed or created these animated films, but Greg Berlanti had a lot to do with that. So I'll give Greg Berlanti that, but the Arrowverse sucks. It's taken me 10 years now to get through season 2 of Arrow. I mean, I like Arrow, but... And then when I think about Legends of Tomorrow, Constantine, Flash, Supergirl, Batgirl, I'm just like... I think Black Lightning maybe even in that universe, and just like... Yeah, glad Greg Berlanti's gone. Okay, I'm not going to say his name, but the former CEO of DC Films, gone, stepped down, and guess who's here? We got Dwayne Johnson here, it's creating a lot of excitement. We got Henry Cavill's back. Henry Cavill's freaking back. The DCEU, which I hope they drop the EU. I want it to just be the DCU. Matt Reeves and his The Batman universe didn't get canceled. We got a Green Lantern show that's been redeveloped. It's going to be a whole different thing than what it was before. Rumors and reports say that it's going to be a show based on Jon Stewart. I don't know what's going on with J.J. Abrams. He's not put out anything. I think he had a lot of bad ideas, to be honest. I didn't want to see a Michael B. Jordan Val Zod movie. Now, would I like to see a Val Zod movie? Of course. But Michael B. Jordan, J.J. Abrams, I'm J.J. Abrams out. He didn't do that great on Star Wars. I've never been a fan of Lost. I don't get why people like J.J. Abrams. Zack Snyder's out, obviously. Maybe Zack Snyder comes back now that James Gunn and Peter Saflan are running things. Who knows? We could speculate all day, right? But let's speculate on my favorite character for a little bit. So, what does this have to do with anything that I'm talking about? Well, if you've watched anything Peter Gunn, really, James Gunn has done, the Suicide Squad or Guardians of the Galaxy, you are familiar with his style. He likes to bring forth goofy, crappy, Z-list characters and dust them off and give them love. And he has a morbid sense of humor. And I think all of that just fits my favorite character, Lobo. And so, let's just say, for the sake of argument, we could be 10 or 15 years out from a Lobo movie. Now, the entire Infinity Saga took roughly 10 years, so a lot can happen in 10 or 15 years. A lot of movies can be put out if James Gunn and Peter Saflan get it together. However, there's just always a prospect. There's always the hope. There was that Michael Finch. He was coming over from Wonder Woman to write the Lobo script. I think he even wrote a Lobo script. And then, for years we had the Dwayne Johnson, Michael Bay Rock movie. I don't think any of this is going to happen. I think if a Lobo movie comes out, it's going to be something totally different, something totally unreported. to this date. So, I just think there's a chance. There's a chance we could get a Lobo movie one day. Now that James Gunn and Peter Saflan are going to right the ship. I'm not going to say they will right the ship. I'm just very optimistic that they will. So let's speculate. I've got some books here out of the collection. This is speculative stuff. Stuff based on values. Now, I'm not Swaggle House Comics. I don't track values. I didn't do my homework. I'm just going to be speaking in a lot of generalities here. This is the thoughts and opinions of, a guy that believes he's one of the internet's biggest Lobo fans. And I feel like if there's one thing, I don't know a lot about comics, but there's one thing I know about comics. I know a little bit about Lobo. And so I just like to share books I think you should be looking out for. If you're new to Lobo, if you're interested in Lobo, maybe you're a speculator. These are the thoughts and opinions of a super fan. So I broke this list up into 3 tiers before we get started. The first tier is going to be covers I think you should have in your collection. The second tier is going to be more or less minor keys, team-ups, important events, that sort of thing. And then the last tier will be the most pivotal comics you should have in your collection. And they will be based on stories inside the books, not necessarily cover buys, because we got a whole section of cover buys. So, you cover buy people. Let's get started. The Demon 38. In take 1, I called this, what do I call this? A Three Stooges homage. It's clearly not a Three Stooges homage, even though they all have Moe's haircut. This is actually a Beatles homage. I think it's a fun cover. Will it ever increase in value? Probably not, but as characters get popular, you just never know. I think this could be a fun, take it to EGS and get a slab, put it in a gator case, display it on the shelf. I need to display more stuff. Kind of book. Demon 38. I mean, it's within. I think a 10.0 in the future, if Lobo and maybe even Etrigan were to ever get hugely popular, a 10.0 slab could garner $10. If you want to count that as value. Next up, we got Lobo number 1. If you Google Lobo, this is an image that'll come up pretty frequently. Alex Horley, at one time or another, used to be a very hot name in the industry. I don't know where Alex Horley has gone. I've not seen anything from Alex Horley anymore. I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's not missing because of something terrible. And I hate to laugh saying that. I don't wish ill will on anybody, but Alex Horley has gone AWOL, and he's a very talented artist. Drawing some of the most iconic Lobo covers there are. Next up, we got Lobo number 6 from the Unbound miniseries. 2 books from this miniseries because I think this one's iconic too. Comic Vine uses this as the avatar for Lobo on the Lobo page, and then again, if you Google image Lobo, this is an image that will come up pretty frequently. So a very well-known, I don't want to say iconic, but a very well-known cover. And then Horley's just the man. I mean, the art speaks for itself. Next up, this is an iconic cover. 52 week 17. Recently got mine signed at Memphis Comic Expo by Mark Wade. He didn't have anything to do with the cover, but he was in the book. This is an iconic cover. You can kind of see the thought process here. You got Lobo, got a sword, got Wonder Woman's sword. I didn't realize that. Wonder Woman's sword going into Superman's cape, got Lasso of Truth, and even the bat cowl. Kind of hard to see, so I'll put it up close for you guys. Another one of these, if you Google image search Lobo, this is going to be a cover that comes up. Next up, we got Rebels 20. This is a Finch cover. David Finch, I think is his name. David Finch cover. David Finch, another guy that I'm not sure. I don't hear much about David Finch anymore. Nobody really talks about him. As you can see, a very talented artist. And Rebels 20 is something you should have in your collection. As far as speculation goes, I don't know. Maybe one day that book will go up or down, but so far all these books are very, very affordable and relatively easy to find. This is an iconic cover right here. I don't know who did the cover. I need to figure that out. Weird Worlds #5. It's a homage to Shakespeare. I don't know the play. But there's some play, a Shakespearean actor holds up a skull and spouts off Old English, and it sounds really poetic and romantic, and that's what this is an homage to, I believe. I actually use this as the header image to my, I don't want to say defunct, maybe one day I will pick up my fan site again, but the currently not active fan page I have on WordPress. Next up, this is a book that I disagree with the market on. The value is stupid. I'm going to tell you straight up. Do not buy this on eBay. Don't shop for it on eBay. Don't search it on eBay. Deathstroke #10. Rob Liefeld did the cover. I don't understand the value at all. This run sucked. New 52 doesn't leave a good taste in many fans' eyes. I personally love New 52. Lobo fans had to go through a lot in New 52, and this is one of them. This was Rob Liefeld's take on trying to reinvent Lobo. He had a Zarnian princess in there in the art. It was just garbage, and this is one of his variants. I didn't even like the suit. It just made him too Wolverine-like. He marveled Lobo up, and I don't appreciate that, because Lobo is supposed to be the DC'd Wolverine. He was designed to parody characters like Wolverine, not imitate them. So, I don't know. Hughes may have done the cover. I'm not sure. Liefeld did sign it, though. Maybe Hughes inked him. This book, at one time or another, was between $90 and $100 plus shipping. I think that was the slab grade price. Maybe even raw. I'm not sure. But it has come down. Comic books are coming down right now. I'm seeing it as low as $30 plus shipping. But I bought this thing at Great Escape in Nashville, Tennessee. For those of you that live near Nashville, Tennessee, it's the smaller location. I want to say off Roseville, next to the Chinese buffet in that little strip mall area. Bought it in their clearance bin for $7. I don't know. I don't get why it's worth all that much. I don't think the covers. The cover's all right. I mean, it's not a trash cover. I can tell Liefeld tried to draw a cool cover, but meh. Don't search it on eBay. Do not buy it on eBay. Next up, we got an incentive variant. I hate. In this world of variant mania going on right now, I'm getting tired of that phrase, incentive variant. But nevertheless, we have one. Harley's Little Black Book #6. I will talk about the significance of this book further in the episode. I have cover A for further in the video. Just wanted to say Simon Bisley, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The iconic artist for Lobo. A lot of people consider him the quintessential artist for Lobo. He's not necessarily my favorite, but I will agree with he's the guy when it comes to Lobo. And he came back after all these years to do a variant for Harley's Little Black Book #6. That's who did this. And for quite a while that held at $50, $60 on eBay, and I just felt like this book is gonna what am I trying to say? It's gonna disappear and fall away to the passage of time. I don't feel like I don't feel like it's gonna just stay relevant forever. However, well, I don't want to get into the speculative part. We'll just stick to the cover. That's why it's important. The cover by Simon Bisley. It is a cool cover. Not my favorite. Simon Bisley has a unique art style, and he's not for everyone. But the price has come down. You can find it for $25, maybe even less now if you know where to look for incentive variants. But yeah, I usually don't hunt variants, and I really don't even cover buy for real. That's just a money rabbit hole you can get into real quick. However, my one rule, and I've said this before and I'll say it now, if you put my favorite character on a cover, I gotta have it. I gotta have every Lobo cover. I gotta have every Lobo appearance. Just a goal of mine, the goal I have for collecting. If I had to sell my entire collection, I would still keep the Lobo books. I would still hold on to them. Next up, we got the Matina Virgin variant for Justice League of America #1 from 2017. I have cover A for further in the video, so I won't talk about the significance of what's inside the book. But this seems to be the most valuable variant of all the Justice League of America #1s. I have all of them except 2. But I'm just being picky, kind of choosing my spots, when and where I want to buy the rest of the covers I need to finish out everything I need for this run. At one time, this book was holding between $80 and $90, and that was slabbed. It's come down since then. I think I bought this for around $30, and I think it's coming down even more than $30. This could be a book you would want to try and find on eBay, maybe. But if you know where to find the variants and you know where to hunt at an actual LCS, go there first. This book is coming down. Pretty cool, though. I don't know if you can see because of the glare, but I'll let you guys see it up close. Love that cover. And last up, we have one of the biggest and most valuable Lobo books in my collection. And in fact, one of the most valuable Lobo books out there. And that is the Brightest Day Green Lantern 55. It would be considered cover B now, but it's the 1 in 25 incentive variant Ethan Van Sciver did. This book, depending on the seller of the day, it's as high as $800. Seems like it's come down. It seems like on average the slabs are going for about $300 to $500 right now. I don't know how much raws are going for. Like if you personally, I say don't chase the slab. Buy the book, don't buy the slab. That's generally my rule. And then especially with this book, I was lucky. I bought this book years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, for $12, and I stole it from the LCS I bought it from. It would be a wall book today in their LCS if they still had it in stock. But a good rule of thumb how I was able to make that happen. I was buying books because I love them, not because of speculation. If you wait for the speculation to get here, a lot of times it's too late. People have already made their money, and the book is going to plateau or come back down. So things to consider. But I would especially try to find this raw. Don't chase the slab with this. I think even if you paid a premium for a 9.8 candidate raw book, I still think you could pay that premium and slab the book and still have plenty of room to make profit. So yeah, just encouraging you guys, don't chase that slab. That is not the most valuable book Lobo has, but it's top 3, I would assume. There's Elseworlds 80-page giant, and then there's that's just a rare recall book Lobo appears in. Lobo is not really the reason it's a $250-ish book. And then there's I have cover A to this book, the American English version. It's a Batman. Now, it's not Batman Lobo Deadly Serious. That's a completely different two-part series. But it's got a purple cover, and then Lobo's on the cover. I think Bisley did the cover. He kind of looks like Joker, and then it's Lobo wearing Batman's cowl. I think it's just Batman Lobo. I can't remember the whole title of the book, but the German variant to that cover A is anywhere from an $800 to a $1,000 book. It is the most valuable book Lobo appears in, about Lobo, any of it. Spoiler alert for the end of the movie. The end of the movie, really, the end of the video. But yeah, I wish I had it, and maybe someday I'll get it. But that is another book you could look into, and I would definitely jump on that book. You know, if this book is already $800 to $1,000 right now, before we could potentially get a Lobo book, you might really want to consider that, and especially this one too. I would be jumping on that. I don't know about right now. Maybe watch the market with inflation and stuff. I think this book can fluctuate a little more than that German incentive variant. That German incentive variant has been $1,000 for years before the 2020 boom. But this one right here, maybe fall in the market, and if you think you can hit a floor, then pull the trigger on this. But I think in the next 5-year window is when you want to get this and a lot of the Lobo high dollar books. All right, let's move on to the inside of these books. Books with a little more substance than the cover. Although art provides a lot of substance, it's half the reason we come to comics, right? So don't misconstrue. I'm not knocking anybody that's a cover collects. All right, first up we have Lobo Death and Taxes number 4. Now, I personally think Lobo Death and Taxes, the entire miniseries, could fit as the source material, the script, if you will, for a Lobo movie. It has an actual antagonist in it. There's a plot. There's a beginning, middle, and end. There's a climax. It's just a complete story in a nicely packaged 4-issue arc. And I chose issue 4 here because Roberta dies at the end of this issue. Spoiler. Roberta is a character that in the early 90s ran the bounty hunter headquarters that Lobo kind of worked with to hunt his bounties. And for those of you who are new to Lobo, Lobo is a bounty hunter by trade, sometimes a mercenary, sometimes an assassin, but mostly a bounty hunter by trade. And Roberta, until this issue, ran that headquarters and supplied him with his bounties and the intel he needed to chase the bounties. And that's why I added it in here, the death of a very, very minor character in the Lobo pocket of the DC Universe, if there's even a Lobo pocket. Next up, we have Legion 89, and I say 89 because it's in the title. Number 5. Ooh, Party Fallon. Party Fallon. Let me get that book. Let me get that book back up there. There we go. Okay. Legion number 5 from Legion 89. This is the first time we see Lobo in Legion. He actually joins Legion and accepts the offer from Vril Dox right here. Off panel between issues 4 and 5, but he's not in Legion in issue 4, so technically this is the issue we would say Lobo joins Legion in this issue. I don't know if we'll ever get a Legion, but again, with James Gunn bringing Z-list characters forward, you never know. You never know. There could be a Legion. I think Legion fits in that Guardians of the Galaxy thing. If James Gunn knows about Legion or discovers Legion, you could get DC's version of Guardians of the Galaxy with Legion. And so this, if we were to ever get a Legion movie, this book would be one of the more important keys, in my opinion. Next up, we got Harley's Little Black Book number 6. So this issue again, but cover A this time. Harley Quinn's blowing up. Margot Robbie owns the role. I didn't care for how she was portrayed in the first Suicide Squad, but when we get to the Suicide Squad, the definitive Suicide Squad, I really liked Harley Quinn. I liked watching her kick butt. That scene with her in the red dress and the spear, man, that was cool. I fanboyed out. And I don't even like the character. I don't collect Harley Quinn, don't care about Harley Quinn. If I have Harley Quinn stuff, it's because he's a part of it. And that's really it. And so the significance of this is the first time we see Lobo and Harley Quinn together. And they also do the Shag Nasty in this book. So some people speculate that Harley Quinn could be Crush's mother. For newer fans, Crush is Lobo's legacy character. She's his daughter. And we still don't know who his mother is. And Key Collector, that app, says that it's been debunked that Harley Quinn is not Crush's mother. However, people still do speculate, and speculators are going to speculate. And with Harley Quinn being such a huge character in the DCU, you just never know where Lobo's going to fit in. And he could find himself on the Suicide Squad, or he could find himself in some way, shape, or form, or fashion, interacting with Harley Quinn, and this would be a key book because I believe this is the first time these two interact. Next up, we have Aquaman number 4. To my knowledge, this is the first time Aquaman and Lobo interact. Everybody loves Jason Momoa. And we're getting past that circus of a court trial with Miss Mira, Miss Curry, or in real life, Amber Heard. Getting past all that drama. I am hearing that James Gunn and Peter Saflan are sticking with Aquaman 2. So I'm really excited for them to bring that forward. You just never know where Lobo's going to land. Maybe it's a Justice League movie. Maybe, if you pay attention to the MCU and how they do stuff, everybody's cameoing everywhere. So you could easily get a Lobo cameo in an Aquaman movie, or you could have a Lobo movie with an Aquaman cameo. You just never know. We're speculating here. Got mine signed by Peter David, by the way. Sick cover. Next up, we got The Demon number 12. I know for a fact this is the first time Lobo and Demon interact and square off with each other. I read issue 11 prior to recording this video so I could verify for sure this was the first time the Soul Brothers, as I refer to them, get together. And J.J. Abrams was supposed to put out a Justice League Dark show or movie. I'm not sure. There hasn't been any talk of that being canceled. You just never know. And with Justice League Dark comes Etrigan, and then again, Lobo and Etrigan have such a long history together as friends, enemies, that we could maybe see Lobo interacting with Etrigan in the future. If we get Etrigan in the DC universe, I personally think Etrigan needs to be in the DC universe. He helps DC stand out from Marvel. Definitely one of DC's more original characters. Next up, we have Legion 91, issue 31. I believe this is the first time Lobo and Shazam square off. So there's the key significance there. Shazam 2 has not been canceled. They're bringing Shazam 2 into the fold. I loved the first movie. I'm excited for the second movie. There's always Black Adam could bring in Shazam, and then maybe we get a Lobo. Maybe Lobo's introduced in Shazam or something. I don't know. Probably unlikely, but we're just having fun with the spec here. First time Lobo and Shazam meet up. And then lastly, for the minor keys of minor significance, The Adventures of Superman 464. Need I say more? The first time Lobo and Superman square off. Now, I'd love to see. That's where I would love to see. If they're going to do like a cameo introduction of Lobo, put him in one of these Man of Steel movies with Henry Cavill. I would love to see whoever they cast as Lobo to bounce off of Henry Cavill. I think that would be great, and then that would potentially put some speculation on this book, as again, this is the first time the big blue Boy Scout, the big cheese, as Lobo calls him, and the main man square off. I think they even meet in this issue. It's like the first time they're even aware of each other. All these books are super affordable, even if any of these books have speculation behind them in the future. I just don't see any of these books being worth more than $10 or $15 and a 9.8 slab. You can find a lot of these in dollar bins. I think I found most of these in dollar bins, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and lastly, we have the 7 most important Lobo books, in my opinion. This is not a definitive list. If you disagree with me, that's great. Put it in the comments and let's have some discourse. I love disagreeing. That's how we learn to grow and challenge our beliefs is by having discourse and disagreements with others. But I do think these are the most important critical moments in Lobo's history. First up, we have Legion 89, issue number 7. This is the issue. Lobo drinks an elixir of he's drinking. He's having a toast with Vril Dogs right before he executes the mission to free the I forget Brainiac's homeworld. He's about to he's cloned himself, and he's drinking this elixir in toast before he goes and executes his mission to help Legion take over this world and free it from robot tyrant overlords. I'm rambling, so I'll get back on pace here. In this issue, Lobo finds out that Vrildox had neutered him, and that there's some kind of property in that elixir that removed Lobo's ability to clone himself. If you're new to Lobo, Lobo is an alien known as a Zarnian. Zarnians have the ability to clone themselves until this issue. And I say it like that because Lobo was the only Zarnian left in existence, and he lost the ability to clone himself. Also, this has to do with the cover. This character right here, I forget her name. She's one of my favorite characters in the series. She rapes Vrildox and becomes impregnated by him, and then she's like mind controlled or something. Something goes on where she's not in the right state of mind, and then that's when this scene happens, and it becomes a long-term play in the story. What becomes of the kid and Vrildox and this character. Next up, we have Justice League of America Rebirth number 1. Now, that Rebirth is pretty important because this is where Lobo joins the Justice League of America. When Rebirth happens, we're tracking Lobo at the time, we are instantly carried into Justice League versus Suicide, or Justice League of America versus Suicide Squad, 6-issue arc, and Lobo's involved. And at the end, Batman and Lobo are seen in the snow, like sharing a cigar or whatever. And Batman asks Lobo to join the Justice League, and we don't know his answer or actually he gives his word that he would join the Justice League, and he's in the Justice League in this issue. So Lobo's never going to be in the Justice League in the DCU unless it was for like a comedic cameo or something. But you just never know, with these like team up things. First time so and so character joins this team. I do still think that carries some significance, and it's pretty significant when you're joining the Justice League of America. Next up, we got a book that I think is so pivotal that no one talks about. Everyone talks about the arc, but no one talks about it in terms of key significance. Lobo's Back, number 4. So pretty much Lobo dies, and he gets reincarnated over and over and over and over again, and it irritates heaven, and they kick him out, and he goes to hell, and hell, he fucks hell up, pretty much. I mean, he destroys the place, and they're like, no, we don't want you in hell either. And they come to an agreement in issue 4 and decide, let's make Lobo immortal so we never have to deal with him in the afterlife. He can just stay alive forever. That's pretty key. Lobo's immortal because of the events of this arc, and the agreement is drafted and come to terms in this issue. Next up, we got Lobo's Paramilitary Christmas Special. A very affordable book, yet very important to Lobo and his history. Lobo takes a contract out from the Easter Bunny to go kill Santa Claus. And if you grab, there's a 2-part story, Lobo versus the Authority. One of them is Jingle Hell, and then there's another issue, Spring Break Massacre, Lobo versus Authority, Spring Break Massacre. Those 2 issues make the story canon. So Lobo really actually did kill Santa Claus. Spoiler alert. A very iconic, legendary book. This is one of the first books you'll hear about when you're first getting into Lobo. I need to break this out and read it at Christmas this year. I might do a Christmas reading on the channel. Who knows? And this is also the first time we see Lobo's dog for many, many years. And I wish DC would bring him back. Many, many years, Lobo had a companion, a white bulldog that he just referred to as Dog. And he tried to play it off as the dog was not his. It just followed him around. Very funny. I love the character. It added some depth to Lobo. And I hope one day Lobo and Dog will reunite in the comics. And, if James Gunn and Peter Saflan decide to give Lobo a dog, well, there's his first appearance, the bulldog. Next up, we have probably the most quintessential Lobo book there is. I think when people are first getting into Lobo, this is one of the actual first book, if not the first book people buy to understand the character. This is Lobo number 1, and you have a lot of stuff going on in here. You have this iconic cover from Simone Bisley, so this can be a cover buy. This is maybe the most iconic image of Lobo. You have the first solo ongoing Lobo issue right here. And then you also have Lobo's origin. So there's a lot here. You get that trifecta of key value here. This is a book, I think, over time, the high-grade copies will steadily increase in value, especially if Lobo is in the DCEU and, he's received well and gains popularity. This is going to be a book people hunt down. And now's definitely the right time to buy this book. I think I bought it for maybe a little more than cover price, a couple bucks. And I still don't think it's that much more expensive than just a couple bucks now, post 2022 or 2020 comic boom. Next up, we got, this is a huge key that no one talks about in terms of key significance. I don't understand. We got Justice League International number 18. This is the first appearance of the iteration of Lobo we all know and love. The Biker Lobo, as I refer to him. Great 4-issue arc. I've like triple dipped this story. I've got the I've got the hardback trade that of this arc, and then I've got this. I've got it digitally if I want to read it digitally, and I'm going to buy the Justice League International Omnibus at some point, which will quadruple dip this story. And I think this book could shoot up in value. I don't know if it'll ever be. I mean, I think if someone were to think slabbing Justice League International 18 were a good idea, and they got a 9.8, I could see a 9.8 being worth $25 in the future. But why I don't think it's going to be worth too much is industry has shown that like Silver Age, like this happens a lot with DC. A lot of your Golden Age heroes, we can't afford their first appearances, so we'll look for their Silver Age appearances. And I think this kind of fits into that category a little bit of like a Copper Age appearance, the first Copper Age appearance of Lobo or something. Just kind of fits into that category if you needed to label it something. And I think history and the market has proved these books just nearly don't increase in value as much as first appearances do. This will make Omega Man number 3 the most important book of to Lobo. Obviously, to any character, the first appearance is the most important. And just oddly enough, this ain't even the second, third, fourth, fifth most valuable. This might be the fifth most valuable book Lobo has. I think 9.8s go for like $100 now. I paid $5 for this thing. Granted, there's a caveat. I bought this in a 5-pack with Lobo Volume 1 for $25 at Dragon Con many, many years ago. So technically, I paid $25 for it, but technically, I paid $5 for it. Crisp copy, got it signed by Marv Wolfman. I hope to one day meet Keith Giffen. Rest in peace, Roger Slipher. He helped co-create Lobo. He's no longer on this earth anymore. But yeah, this is the book you'll want to buy eventually. This is the number one, speculation investing book. This is going to be the book I think fluctuates the most. I think this is going to get the max return for your investment if you kind of watch the market and try to hit a floor on this book. And I would chase it in raw. Don't get the 9.8s. The 9.8s are already $100, $150. I've seen listings for $250, $300. Then they're not going to sell. But a $100 9.8 probably would sell. And I still think there's probably a lot of good high-grade copies like mine out there in the wild for, in raw, not in a slab. And those books are going to increase in value over time anyways. But if Lobo comes to the DCU, this book is so cheap for a first appearance, in my opinion, of a character that is a license to print money, in my opinion. I think DC has been missing out on Lobo, and they need to get their act together and put a Lobo movie out. And this will be the book that goes to the moon more than any of the other books I've brought to date. And obviously because it's the first appearance, but you got to think, if you think about a book like Hulk 181, how much room does Hulk 181 have left in the tank before too many people get priced out? Even with this Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman announcement. So, just things to consider about this book. I think it's at a good floor right now, and maybe with the hobby coming down in price, we can't really afford books right now at the prices they're at, so they're coming back down. Maybe wait just a little bit and try to find a good floor for this book. I'm so excited. to see what James Gunn and Peter Saflan have in store for DC. This is what I've wanted. Not necessarily James Gunn, but I've just wanted direction with DC. And with James Gunn at the helm, I'm ever optimistic now that we get a Lobo movie. Because, again, Lobo fits that mold of what James Gunn... I wouldn't mind if James Gunn did a Lobo movie himself. I'm so excited about James Gunn. I'm picked back up Peacemaker. I watched the first episode when Peacemaker came out, and then I love the episode, and I love the show. I just watched episode 2 before I turned on the camera, but I'm just so excited to pick the show back up, and I can really see that Lobo fits the mold of what James Gunn likes to do in his movies. The whole morbid comedy and violence and that sort of stuff. I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about this news, which is shocking to me. I'm hoping in the coming days we're going to hear more news from content creators. More content creators are going to cover this stuff. I would like to encourage you to get out there in the community and look for that stuff and support your YouTube comic community as you do me. It always means so much that you support my channel and my content. I hope you enjoyed this long, lengthy video. Until next time.